Hey there, this is part 2 of the building process of the hexagon grids for this big softbox over there. I cut it up in 2 chunks because the build and the design process was getting a bit too long. So if you want to see the first part of the build and the intro, click here. And if you're just interested in seeing all the further up design steps to go from this and combine them together to form eventually this big softbox over there with all the different tiles that you can see here, then keep watching. Enjoy. All right, but this honestly concludes and really concludes the centerpiece. And now it's time to go to replicate this shape and then work on the edge and corner pieces. So let's quickly do this. So we have now the centerpiece. Let's make everything smaller, and we want to see the softbox outline. And now we gonna copy this one. And what we actually want to do is not to copy it with the move and copy tool, because this will create a copy that will be referenced exactly the same. And when we change one of those copies, all of them will be changed, which is not something we want. We want now to create the basic shape on the edges and the corner piece. What I mean by that is, maybe I do it. Actually, I will create a copy here and move it 18 centimeters to this side. And then 18 centimeters to the other side. Create a copy. I think that didn't work, actually. I was moving it, so I need to select and then create copy first. Move it 18 centimeters here, and then do the same, center, move, create copy down here, so that we actually have some reference pieces that we can, it's easier to see what we're doing. Those will not be actually necessary for the final designs, because they will all be the same. So now, as you have seen, we copied this. Let me disable that one. Now we copied them over. They will be all referenced, so we cannot really change the geometry of one of those, because all of them will be affected. But that's fine. It's just as a visual reference what we're doing. And as you can see now, when I switch back to softbox, actually, can I lower this? Maybe I move it actually down a bit, just for now, just a centimeter maybe, so that we can actually see how they overlap better. No, like this. And you can see that we need now to work on the corner pieces. Let's call this a corner piece. And then we have the edge cases, which are here. Very small, but actually I would like to have this as the softbox otherwise will have open spaces where light can, escape. And then I would either have to tape this off, which is not really what I want. And also we need the surface area to clamp it around the softbox, because there's like 1 centimeter edge where we can get around and then hang it in place around the softbox to keep it in place. So maybe let's start first with the edge case. And now we need to replicate the center one more time, but actually this time we want to copy and then paste as a new. And how to do that? We go into copy, and then we select the overarching component here, and then we go for paste new. And this will create a copy that is now not referencing any of the other ones and can be changed, but still we will be dependent on the original design. So when we change the original design in, for example, the thickness or the diameters, this will also be affected, because it comes in the history, it comes later than the original change, which is exactly what we want. And we need to move it 18 up, and that should be fine. And this is, we capture position, and we're good. Now this is actually not the center anymore. This we can now also change the name, call it corner. And I will move up my softbox again, because I will use this now as a tool actually. So save it here quickly. And now we select the corner piece and we go to the combine tool. Yeah, and we say capture position. This is now the target body. Target body. Now it's the target body. The tool body will be our softbox shape that we designed in the beginning, and we go for intersect again and keep the tool, because we want to reuse the softbox outline or the shape and the body, the object, otherwise it will be deleted. And now we can disable it again and see what we've done. So as you can see, we have now a corner piece that is following the shape of the softbox, exactly what we want, but the geometry is a bit, broken here at the outside edge, which we still need to fix. So we go into the corner, select it as the component that we would like to edit, and then it is still featuring the original sketches, which is fine. And then we create a new sketch that is based on the bottom again. What we can now do is actually enable the softbox again, but maybe disable the body, but still have the sketch. And now we can reference on this sketch that we're currently working, the outline of the softbox itself. That's going to be enough. We can disable it again, but we still have now the outline here in this sketch. We can actually use it. We can also project those lines where the current cutout ends. And now we have actually everything we want. We then go to create and arc and center point arc. For the center point, we select the center point of the reference here, and we go to the first ending point where the geometry is currently ending. And we draw an arc, which is barely visible, all the way over here. And now as we have the arc, again, we can end the sketch and we can use this arc to thin extrude again. So thin extrude to the power here, and thin extrude all the way up to the upper part here, to the, I think I missed, okay, right. I missed selecting the surface there, and hit join and be good. Now we kind of repaired, and I forgot something. Go back into the thin extrude, and instead of the 1 millimeter wall thickness, we go with the outer thickness that we defined earlier, matching what has been there already from the original outside thickness, going then into the arc as we wanted. And that's exactly what we want. And we do the same now for the, let's call it the edge component, the edge part. And for that, again, we copy paste, sorry, not the softbox, we copy paste a center. So we hit Control or Command Z, or actually copy, and then select the like the general, the top level component, and say paste new. And now we can move this in place, so 18 centimeters in this direction again, and then further 18 centimeters, which goes all the way to 36. And we capture position and hit OK. And now we have yet again another new component, which will become the edge case, the edge case. And for this, we need again the softbox as a cutout. And this time we need the body. We need the body again, and we go to combine, but this time we need to select the, and we can actually rename this to edge. We select the edge, we hit modify, we select it as a target, we select the body as a cutout, we go for intersect, we keep the tool, and good to go. We deselect the softbox, and maybe also this one to see better what we're doing. And now we do exactly the same. We are already in the edge, that's fine. So we go for, so we select here. We reference the original. No, it got me confused actually. Yeah. If something is shaky, then I'll go back and start all over to regain control. Okay, it got myself confused. Now this is up. You can also see always here in the top right the cube. So top is up. That's exactly how it should be. We go into the edge. We see if we have any sketches there already. We do. That's actually fine. We go with the new one, right? Okay, we put it here. Exactly. Now I would like to reference. Now we can actually reuse this arc from the corner piece, or we deselect that again. We go to the softbox and reference that one, which is actually something that I would prefer. Now we don't need the soft anymore. And we do the same as before. No, we need to reference again the outside edges of our corner piece. No, the edge piece, as I call it. And then we go to create an arc and center point arc. We go to the center point and span the arc like so. Done. Now we can get rid of the sketch. No, we can't. We go to extrude, thin extrude. We extrude this piece. We go to the upper side. We hit join and we give it a thickness, which is in this case the outer thickness. And boom. All right. So now we have all the three basic components that we need. The last but not least step is to add the slits here to mount the clamps. And in order to do so, we go to... let's go to the top component. No, actually, let's go to Softbox. Because we don't have anything on the top level. We put everything on Softbox, also the tools, which I would now like to do as well. We create tool objects to do what we want. And in order to do so, we go again to the sketch. And now the simplest thing that we can do is create a cut tool line that we can also, why is this not referenceable? That will go from here all the way to the outside. And now, as this is not what we want, we will break it here, cut this piece away, cut this piece away, make sure that we have enough. Sorry, I wanted to, all right. Select the tangent, so pick circle and arc tangent. Now again, pick circle and arc tangent to be able to reference the tangent instead of from the center point. And we give, why is this down there? What are you doing down there? Okay, whatever. We make sure that this is actually reaching long enough, and that is the outer thickness plus 1 millimeter of leeway so that we are reaching far enough inside. And then the same, the overall, I don't know, something like 10 to have enough excess. And then we go to extrude and thin extrude once more. And we extrude this up by, again, 8. We create a new body. And actually we go from the center. And the wall thickness, again, will be 2. And the body is invisible. We create a new body and hit OK. Now we will disable the, let's call this quickly soft box. And this is cut out. And we don't need the sketch anymore. We don't need the corner. Let's keep it, but let's disable the softbox for now. And what I would like to do now is to rotate this around the circle so that we can use it then as a tool to cut out from the edge and the corner piece. I was also trying to replicate this as before as a cutout, immediately cutting through the pieces, but that for some reason didn't work. I guess maybe due to some referencing issues, maybe just a bug in Fusion, I don't know. Didn't work. Now I'm doing it this way. Hopefully it works. And we go with pattern tool, circular pattern. Now this time actually we select the body because it's now body. Okay, it was selected already. And then we go for the axis, which is just the Z axis. All right, let's see. And let's try 12. I think that's not enough. Let's go with 24 and see if that falls into meaningful places for all the two, or let's say the two shapes that we have, which is the edge, which would be fine in my opinion. But here I see some issues evolving or coming up. So I guess that is maybe not the perfect place or perfect size. Let's try 30. It doesn't work really. This one is the most critical. So I would like to have something that lands here and maybe here and here and here to have enough space of the clamp that we need to put inside of the slit that has some, wings to each side to grab onto. So let's just play around until we hit a quantity actually we can increase gradually and see when something arises that makes sense to us. And I think for the edge case, it's not perfect. Let's go a bit more. It's actually more like it's trickier than I thought. I just keep increasing, hoping that there's a constellation coming up that kind of fits. Maybe this one. This one actually looks okay-ish, I would say. So looking here, we have maybe this one, definitely this one. This one is fine, maybe this one again. Then we have this. This is fine, 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 this is fine. I'm looking now for if there's enough space on either side. And we need to make sure that we have kind of the same selection to only be able to design one clamp that fits all of the corner pieces that we have. It's fine if a clamp or the clamps are not touching each other. They can be distributed and have some space between them, but of course I would like to have one clamp that fits the cutouts on all the different pieces that I have. So let's enable suppression here. Actually, what I would love to have is a way, no, actually let's disable it because I'm not clicking 63 or 60 times now or 59 times to deselect everything. I would just go with OK and then make sure to only use those cutouts that make sense. So I think this one is going to be a bit tight, definitely. This one actually could work. I think that actually works. So let's say like this one is fine. Oh, no, I made a mistake. I actually want to, okay, let's select target body and tool body. And there we need to hit Control to select multiples. Cut out. Okay, now it works. To cut multiples. And now, so that means we need to have 5 next to each other. If we find the same number of pieces that we can have here, we're actually fine. So this, and this would be 5. And then, yeah, we're good. Then we have this piece covered, and then we can have the same clamp here for those 5. And for this one, we can already go and click OK. Actually, we can get rid of the tools because we don't need those anymore. And now we have 5 cutouts here on this side of this piece, which is exactly what we want. And we need to continue with this edge, with the corner piece as well. So we select Modify, we select this component or this body, and then select the target bodies that we would like to have. And we need now 5 and would like to have it kind of in the center. So we go with this one, and this one. Then this one on this one. Let's go to the top and double check that this makes sense from above. This is going to be tight here. This is maybe, if there are some wings to either side, it will touch here, but that's actually fine. That looks good to me. Cut. All right. And that's it. Not yet. Final step, of course, we need to have a clamp that goes in here, and we need the clamps that connects all the different pieces together. So what we can do now is clean up a bit. So we get rid of all the cutouts that we don't need, which is all the rest. We can just delete those. Deletion cause downstream feature failure. Right? Wait, what? Okay. Let's just keep them. Or maybe let's try to find those that we didn't use. So we get rid of this. We just keep everything. You know, for better or worse, we deselect now softbox and we just keep all the cutout objects. Maybe use suppression, just as a hint. All right, we don't need the center. We go to the top level and create a new component, which we call clamp. And now as we are coming from this side, we need to go and clamp it around in the other direction. What we would like to do is reference again. Yeah, maybe the outside of the edge surface. Is that something we can do? So now we have, no, that's actually not what I want. Project, I'd like to have the lower side, and then we have all the clamp out cutouts as a reference, and that is something we can work with. Right. Good. Now I would like to design the clamp outline on this sketch for the clamp, right? So we go to the sketch, and then now a good way to do that is to sketch it out. So it's going to be something like this. Yeah, that will go then somewhat like this in here. And of course, this needs to be then closer to this face and really touch it with some springy force of those two wings. And that will be hopefully enough to keep everything in place, especially for this piece, because it will be hooked from the other side. But still, I don't want the clamps to fall off if I'm just handling the grid. I want them to stay in place and that firmly. But for the other connections that we will tackle in a second, where we want to connect the individual segments, this needs to be really, really stay in place and don't move and don't fall apart, because that would be bad, right? Okay, so let's make this clamp a bit nicer. For this, I'm gonna get rid of those pieces and put something like this and attach those here, attach this here, attach this here. This is actually a workflow that I would like, and I'm usually, this goes parallel here, this goes parallel there. We're saving, right? This needs to touch the ring, this as well, this as well, this as well. So it's kind of a matter of constraining now everything correctly. And it would be nice to have this as an arc. So get rid of those lines again and go arc, right? Center point again. Center point can be somewhere here. And then we go kind of here to there. And then we constrain it correctly. So this is tangent. This is tangent, but it needs also to be touching the, okay, and I think here it's actually already doing that. Exactly. This line, the same. referencing the same center point. Didn't I go for arc? Right, like so, and we make sure it connects, and is tangent, and tangent. And then we connect those lines, and connect this line as well, and have an helper line. It goes here and goes here. And it's the same distance. And this needs to be something like 0.3. It's actually fine. And then I would like to have those also touching here and touching here. And sometimes that happens that such a constraint completely messes up everything because it's not constrained enough yet. So it is really helpful to keep it as close as possible usually. And that in most cases enough to not ruin everything before we have the chance to constrain it correctly, I would say. What we now need to do is fix this point in place, and we give it definitely the right distance and make sure it's actually sitting in the middle, and then also define how far away that should be from this point, which is in this case, I don't know. It looks actually quite well. So maybe let's make it 5. So the arc is a bit wider, which we can see that this is going to be a problem here. Maybe all the other pieces should be fine, I guess. Maybe let's make it 4. All right. Then also we can constrain the diameter here, which I would like to have 1.5 millimeters. And we need to, what is now, you can always move it around to see where the freedom still is. We need to define how far apart those 2 points should be. And actually this is a bad way of doing it because we're not following kind of the geometry. So it would be more better like this way. Maybe 8 millimeters. And now you can see that it is fully defined. Everything is fine. Oops. 8. I wanted 8. Thank you. And yeah, this is defined, but just as a reference, this is 1.4. Actually, let's get rid of the 0.5 and make this not a generated number, but actually let it drive the geometry. And let's put it to 1.6, and then let's, as an output, let's output how much this is, and it's 0.25, which is still okay for my printer as a clearing. So if you have where you know your printer needs more, you need to make sure that this openings may be wider or the connection here is thinner, right? But for the Prusa Mini, it's actually more than enough spacing to make it work, and not where the opening is not precise enough so that you cannot fit it in. All right, so as a last step, this needs to be replicated in the right spacing. Oh, that's actually something that I'm not sure if I can do that. That's going to be interesting. We need to measure the angle, I guess, between those openings, and that's going to give us the replication. Let's see. We then need to come up with something like an offset, and offset let's also define until, let's make it a real line, not a construction line. Like so, and let's make sure this is perpendicular. There's actually something we can't do, but then can you make this collinear to a center point? No, you can also not do that. Anyway, let's continue for now. Create a line here, and then again follow the arc with center point arc, We reference the center point, and then we draw an arc between those lines. We cut out any excess. How can we make sure that this is perpendicular to this line? Perpendicular, because this is a rounded shape, the perpendicular tool doesn't work here. What we can do instead is a little trick. A construction line from the center point and let it end at this point. And now make sure that those two lines are actually parallel, right? Can be hard actually to select, or let's get rid of this line again and put it actually, let it end earlier. So what we can do is have a construction line from the center to this point and then make sure that they are collinear. And this way we have made sure that this is actually also perpendicular to this arc. The same here on the other side. And then collinear. All right. Now let's make sure that those are actually the same distance to, for example, some reference point. Let's reference this one here. We go for equal distance. And now they are the same distance. We also need to define how thickness this should be. The clamp currently is 3. Let's make it 2. A little bit more than the outer diameter. That is maybe also something we could define, but it is, it's a clamp. So if we want to change it, we just go to the clamp and we immediately define it. It's not something that is really hard to re-establish the knowledge where it is. And then as a last step, not as a construction line, sorry. So as a normal line, we deselect construction, we select this and go here. Actually, I don't know exactly what shape it should have. I guess it doesn't really matter. So we can have this actually be parallel to those lines as well. And now we have a perfectly defined shape. That's exactly what we want. The only last thing is that we want to replicate this to the other sides. This would be one way, or we can now extrude the clamp itself and then this piece and extrude it and rotate it around in the right spacing to put it in place. Actually, I should have started with this piece here. I didn't, but it's actually fine this way. So yeah, I will now extrude this piece first, and then this hook, and this needs to go distance-wise to this object here, all the way. Where am I? I am in the clamp new body. That's actually exactly what I want, but it needs to extend further by something like 1 centimeter. I can do this with the offset, which is really nice. So I'm referencing, if I'm now changing, for example, the depth, this offset will be the same. So even if the grid itself is thicker or deeper, let's say, the clamp will always grow with the grid itself and then still reach, the backside of the softbox the same way as before. So that's fine. Now we need to get the sketch again. And why is... Okay. What's actually happening? What do I see here? Go away. Corner is selected, edge is selected. What is that? All right. So now we go to the clamp again. We get our sketch back, and then we select. We click and hold. That didn't work. Why? Okay, now we're there. All right, and I select the clamp itself, and I also want to see the edge. What did I do now? Oh, okay. I made a mistake. I put the slit on the other side. Yeah, so I was working from the wrong side actually. Which is something we can fix, but something not that I like. So I would suggest, to do it differently. Anyway, okay, let's get rid of this extrusion. Now I want to extrude this piece first. And actually, this entire plane is on the wrong side now. As you can see, the slits are on the downside. So this is actually the side from where we would like to start the clamp. So we can do that, although the shape is here. So we can do that by selecting and selecting a start point different from the sketch plane that we're currently living or sitting on, and selecting this side. And now we can go and extend it all the way to the upper side. Yeah, to object, select this one. Now it's gonna go all the way. Why is it, what the heck? Why is it larger? Not distance, I want to have it here. Why is it longer? Because there's already an offset. Okay, right. So I want to have an offset here that was from earlier. So actually it would look like this, 0. Right, so here's the extrusion. Let me switch off the edge and corner for a second, and maybe also the sketch. But I know that the softbox is actually going, of course, beyond the grid, right? The grid sits in front of the softbox, so we need to reach further and then hook behind. So actually I can use the offset for that. Let's say, for example, 10 millimeters. That is more or less what I need here. And say OK. And then as a last step, or no, actually as the next step, now I need to get the sketch back and make sure that the clamps are there as well. So I select the outline of the clamp. Again, same procedure. We go to the underside because here's where the slits in the profile sit. And from where we would like to reference it, we go to Start, Object, and select the surface here. And then we know that the slits that we created are 8 millimeters deep, like so. And instead of joining, we are now creating a new body because we need to replicate those first, and then we can join it to the clamp. So that's what I'm doing. Now we have two bodies. We have this piece and the clamps. And now we need to make sure we are able to replicate those in a circular manner all the way where the other openings are. How do we do that? So I would say we can go, for example, with rotate, or rotate. Actually not. No, we go with the circular pattern. We select the body, which is already selected, and the axis is again the Z axis. We don't need 63. Oh, actually, that's actually exactly what we want, funny enough, right? Because we know that we have 63, we had those 63 before. But this time I would actually deselect everything. Yeah, let me do that quickly. I have the feeling there should be a smarter way, a better way to do that. And on top of everything else, we are kind of violating the constraints of our shapes already. Oh, and this one needs to go as well. Luckily, as this is a non-destructive workflow, we can fix that still. So we can go to the original clamp and make it actually work. And how to do that, we need to make it, either we need to make this thinner or we need to reduce the arc of the clamp itself, which is something we can actually do. So, right, that's too much. That's too wrong direction. Let's expand the diameter of the circle that we, for this arc, let's make it, for example, 10. And now it's, much less kind of going outwards. And we can see that it now should clear more or less the shape there. If it touches that, actually, is not a big deal. It will help create the adhesion there between the different pieces. Will maybe even help. So I'm not, too worried about this. And that's basically it. We can now join the pieces together. So we select this and we join and select the tools. We can get rid of them. We don't need to keep them. Now they are joined and we have the clamp part done, which is nice. Something that I now realize is doing it this way will probably cause the clamps to bend away. So now, and also as a last step, we need to get rid of this ugly sketch first. And we need to put the lip that goes then around the softbox as a last step. So we put the final sketch on top. And now we need to extend it here and follow the arc. So first of all, we will project this part here. That gives us the center point and the arc. And we can, again, go with the first initial lines. Then we create an arc, center point arc. And we put it somewhere. Now we can cut away the rest. Now it's not yet defined, of course, but we can give it a definition. So the lip should be, maybe a centimeter thick. Oh. And it lost its constraints. So again, we add the constraints back. So we add constraint lines, construction lines, I meant, holy crap. And we make sure, okay, this is still fine. Huh? Ah, okay. It's not sitting at the corner piece. Now it is. And it is turning white, which is awesome. So, and that's exactly what we expected as well, because the geometry should be now defined with that, and we're good. So we can step out of the sketch, and as a last final step, we extrude those two together with, for example, 2 millimeters, and we have our clamp. Now, as the Prusa Mini is an FDM printer, it is important to make sure and to keep in mind that whatever you're creating is actually printable, which is a problem with this piece, at least to some extent. So due to the curvature, I would say it's impossible to, print it this face lying down, because that will turn out really ugly. So I would like to print it in a standing position like this. And then those will hang in midair. But with the new tree support, which I also did a short video about, and their awesomeness, which you can find here, is that you can then easily paint support positions here, and then let the tree support do its magic. And I think that will work out great, actually. So let's see it together. both of them. And that should, yeah, that looks okay. I think that looks really okay. Awesome. Cool. Yeah, so I'm really pumped to get now printing and see how it turns out in the end. You know, or actually what? We should put now proper chamfers here because that's going to be really, really ugly otherwise. That's probably fine. 1 millimeter. Now let's also put chamfers here and here. Everywhere. I love chamfers. Chamfers are great. Chamfers are really great. I cannot have enough chamfers. And once we have them here, of course, now I can also select, okay, this one, maybe not. No, I went overboard. This one for sure. Ugly corner. Yeah, that's much, much nicer. Much, much nicer. And to give it a bit more stiffness, we also can select this piece there and this edge. Now I deselected this one. So it's following a bit already here, the curvature. Giving it a little bit more strength. Just a little bit. A tiny little bit. Sometimes that's all it takes. And with that, it concludes everything that was necessary. Because all the pieces that we touched will repeat. So the corner here will be the same here, here, and here. And this edge will be the same as here, here, and here. And the clamp can be attached to this and this one, because it has the same spacing for the mounting points. So actually, we are really set and ready to get going. It doesn't look like it is, because I have not copied everything into the final position, but that's actually not needed, and I will keep it this way. I think it is enough to grab the point and the idea, and now we get printing. If you liked what I did here, then I would be happy if you smash the thumbs up and consider leaving a subscribe, because I have a lot of new comments. I have a lot of new projects coming up. Parts of them already arrived, and I will show you soon what's inside this box, but not now. You will see me in the next one. I'm Bushy. Over and out. I did.